If I saw our ambassador seated like this, I would feel very sad. I would be very sad, like this. And there are people who are innovative, they can even be able to drape themselves with their two hands. Also, how you position your legs when you sit. Even as a man, you cannot sit as if you are at a fireplace. Your legs need to be friends. So that you look elegant. And for ladies, it looks very nice when you sit and cross your ankles. It looks nice. It looks very nice. Leg. Like Condoleezza. Yeah, Condoleezza Rice used to like sitting like that. And there are those people who interpret body language, there are people who will tell you that when you sit in this position, it's like you're communicating that you are superior. Is it true? It has the elements of attitude. She used to like sitting like that, and I used to wonder as to why. The school of diplomacy she went to did not. But there are people who are comfortable sitting that way. But I cannot sit like that at a forum because it sends that message. I will not go into this because of time. I only have 10 minutes. If you're agreeable, I'll give you a handout. I'll copy this on your desktop. Because for you, this is very, very important. Small talk. Because you will not go to a cocktail and you're interacting with another diplomat and you're asking them, are you married? Or you're asking them, do you have children? Are you planning to have any? And please note, be very, very conscious of the cultures of the people you are serving so that you know what topics to avoid. In diplomacy, it is said that politics and religion are topics that should never be discussed when you go to those forums because they are very emotive. Politics and religion, that you need to stick to safe topics. And from the internet, from magazines, from newspapers, even sports is a very safe topic. And this is why when you visit like the UK, they are very, very fond of saying lovely weather. Lovely weather. Is it true? It's because they want to keep at a safe topic because it's important. So I will not go so much into this. What I want to say here is that the way you handle food, the way you eat, says a lot about your character. And this is why in some organizations, if you are sent, before they give you the final letter, somebody is sent to take you for a meal so that they can be able to gauge what kind of a person you are. And remember, we said that people like doing business with those who mirror their values. If you are taken for that lunch or dinner, before you have even started eating, you add salt to your food, you will not receive that letter. That final letter will not come. Because what does it say about you? You judge before you analyze. You are judgmental. What else? You are quick to act. What else does it communicate about you? You add that you think the chef You think the chef does not know his work well, yeah? So this is why you believe that food does not have enough salt. Then, in that kind of forum, if somebody requests that you pass on the salt to them, and the minute they request that you pass on the salt to them, is when you realize that your food also needed some salt. So before you pass on the salt shaker passes via your plate, and you add and then give the salt to them. What does it say about you? You are very insecure. You are very selfish. You are very insensitive. You are indecisive. Also, if at the dining table you reach out to get the salt maybe or the pepper without asking those people seated next to those items to pass them on to you, what does it say about you? What does it say? You overstretch. You are even spilling other people's drinks in the process. What does it say about you? You are very ill-mannered. You will not receive that final letter. So I want to begin with the napkin, the first part. Okay. The napkin. That for men, you will not put it here, nor will you tuck it into the trouser, because it's supposed to be positioned on your lap. That napkin is supposed to be positioned on your lap, to be placed on your lap, and when you're unfolding it, do not unfurl it like a flag.
How you sit down and handle the napkin? So I'm assuming this is my chair there. I will sit down. Can I put this down? Yeah. So that I can have both hands free. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. So I'll sit down and take it elegantly.
In the course of having the meal, they will either give you a finger bowl, the one that comes with hot water and a slice of lemon, or they'll give you a hot towel. This hot towel, Karemi, please give me the hot towel. This hot towel is not supposed to be for your head. It's not supposed to wipe your face also. The hot towel is for the hands. It's for the hands. And then the finger bowl, let me have the finger bowl. Then the finger bowl. This finger bowl, and by the way, usually they'll be smaller than this. Please do not attempt to wash your two hands. In the small bowl. It's called a finger bowl because you're supposed to do this elegantly. One hand at a time. The fingers, one hand at a time. And when you are dining in this kind of scenario, this kind of situation, you will not also engage in because you are not going to dig a trench. You are going to dine, and you are going to dine elegantly. Elegantly. As you dine, the food comes to you. You do not take your head to the plate. When you take your head to the plate, it is called grazing. And you will not graze. I'm about to stop. Then I'll give you time for Q&A. You will not graze. So the food comes. You still sit when your back is straight when you sit at the dining table. And here I'm talking about Western dining etiquette. And we also have Eastern dining etiquette. And like when you're dining in the East, like when you're having meals in Japan, you will notice that it is acceptable to, because the soup comes after the food. And there, it will be okay to take your soup with the bowl, from the bowl. If in the UK, you are invited for a meal, and you get out, you take your bowl like this, they might want to take photos. So the guiding principle here is while in Rome. While in Rome, so that you will go to situations where when you have to take a banana as your dessert, a banana, you will not peel it and hold it like this. You will slice the peel, then slice it and use your fork to eat that banana. Or if you're having an apple, you will not hold it like this, because you will notice they will give you an apple and a knife. They are diplomatically communicating that here we will dine elegantly. So you will not disturb our ears by eating your apple the way you eat fruits in the garden. I want to talk about the side plate. I want to talk about the side plate, and the side plate will be positioned on your left-hand side. The bread plate. That bread plate, when you are having soup, will also have a bun. Looks like a scone, yeah? The round one. Please, as our ambassadors, when you are dining in the Western world, please do not slice that bun in the middle with a knife and then have the two pieces disjoined and apply butter and then close. Because that bun, you're supposed to break. A lot of you are Christians, I presume, yeah? And you remember they broke bread in the Bible. That is the elegant way to handle that bun. You do not touch it. You do not cut it with the knife. It does not look elegant. It does not look, it's not elegant dining. So you cut a small piece, you butter. And how you handle the butter also. You get butter from the common dish. You get butter from the common dish. You put your butter onto your side plate. The butter that you're going to use, you put the portion that you think you'll use onto your side plate, so that you do not keep going back to the common dish to get butter. As you eat, there are some topics that cannot be discussed at the dining table. You do not talk about weight. You do not talk about illness. If you are on medication, that is supposed to be taken after the meal, you're supposed to take it in a very, very discreet manner. You will not parade all the envelopes on the table and you're taking one by one and explaining to your fellow diners about why you are taking this medicine. At the buffet, on your plate, at a buffet, the reason why there is a buffet is so that you can keep going back to get food. And I think somebody was very wise, and they designed this system where if you're going to go to a buffet in a hotel, if you're going to go to a buffet in a hotel, you do not carry the plate you are using. You go and take a new plate. I believe it's so that people do not get to know you have gone there thrice. So you go, you come with a new plate. You go, you come with a new plate. And by the way, you can also send the waiter. But the rule of the buffet is ensure that you go round to see what has been offered, so that you can be able to gauge as you serve yourself, so that you do not end up with a plate that has things that you are not very fond of. And then you get to where the things that you are fond of are, because you will get very confused. Karemi, you want to say something?
Yes, I agree. The buffet, the point on the buffet. Perhaps I'll just mention something on the toothpick. This is, before I go to that, this is a basic table setup. Can everyone see? It's really basic, but as Mrs. Waikenda had mentioned, we use what we call the continental style of dining. That is European, that's British, adapted from the British. So usually we'll have the fork on the left, knife on the right, so we didn't have enough of them. This will come with a spoon is optional with a soup. So it will normally not be on the setup, just put it here because we had it. And then we'll have the salt dish on this side. Normally, as a rule, you're like when you go to a table setup, do you ever enter somewhere and you're not sure which is your setup? So as a rule, your drinks will be to your right, and then food like bread plates, stuff will be to the left. That will help you know where you're supposed to sit. Does that make sense? Okay, and then I think Mrs. Wakenda will talk about the glasses, how to hold them. But normally sometimes you have tricky foods like rice, and you wonder, how do I go about it? You know? And chopsticks. Chopsticks, I think, culture also based. If you're from, Asia, East Asia, then you're okay eating with them. But if you can't, you'd rather just ask for a fork and knife. There's no point of putting yourself through that torture. The other thing I meant to mention is you start from the outside and work your way in. So you normally have like your forks, whatever forks you have, say starting with the salad, and then a fish fork, and then the main meal fork, which is what we have here. And on the other hand, the knives, yeah? So you work from your outside going in. So you've started with, assuming you started with the soup, so you've used a soup spoon, and then come to your salad, use a salad fork and knife, move into the fish or meat fork and knife, and then up to the main meal. Is that part answered? So work your way from the outside coming in. And then you ask about the chicken or whole fish. You work that one, okay, ideally use a fork and knife. Then again, if it's too tricky, you find, using your judgment, you may say there's a piece of bone that is hard to maneuver with a fork and knife. And it can turn out to be very embarrassing if, you have things flying about in the process. Yeah. So, eat as much as you can of it. That's what I'm coming to. There's a bit, sometimes you don't want, you don't have to get to the bone and finish everything. Eh? So eat as much as you can with a fork and knife. And then if it's not a situation, like a formal dinner setting where you want, you just can't take it with your hand or even a napkin, I think just leave it at that. The fish, the same. Eat as much as you can with a fork and knife. Something that you learn over time. But, as opposed to being at home or with having a meal with your family and friends, where you can get away some of these things. In a formal dinner setting, sometimes it's better to just do as much as, if you may have to sacrifice, enjoying all of, as much as you would normally. But it doesn't mean that you have to suffer at the same time, yeah? So normally you also, you can also request for a good knife and fork, because some of them tend to be blunt, and it's very tedious. So you ask the waiter for meat knife if they haven't provided, so that it's easier for you. And eat as much as you can with a fork and knife in a formal setting. It's the ideal thing. And you may not be able to, even because you have to watch your, how you carry yourself. It's not the same as you would with your family and friends. So it's some sort of sacrifice, but at the same time, you should also be able to enjoy.
Maybe it's meat, but it has another name that you don't have.
Yes.
I mean, it will look more embarrassing if you go asking what.
There are those people who love, let me use the example of fish. If you love fish so much, as much as I do, and you know that the best part of the fish is the head, you will not go to a state banquet, because you'll be going to a lot of state banquets, and you sit there and dismantle the head, and you even eat the eyes. No, I'm saying there's nothing wrong. I like eating the eyes of the fish. But I'm saying the occasion, the situation will not allow you. You might want to pack the eyes and eat as you drive home, and the head. Because in that setting, there are people who might want to take photos of you dismantling that head, because you are a real spectacle. So, it's about being comfortable. It's about being able to adjust in your surroundings. And you remember we said, as diplomats, your lives have changed. As diplomats, you do things differently. So this is why this dining is important. At your level now, as diplomats, even how when you go for those cocktails, you hold the glass matters. Because if you stand there and you have been served with champagne, and you are holding your glass like this is called cupping. When you cup that glass, we can tell something is amiss. So you will hold that glass that serves champagne or white wine. Here, you hold the stem. Because if you're at a cocktail and you cup it, your hands become moist. And as you extend your hands to greet people, it becomes uncomfortable. When you're having red wine, it's okay if you cup it, because red wine is served at room temperature. The toothpick should never ever be taken for a walk. When you are using it, if you have to use it at the dining table, and there are establishments you go to, where you realize that it takes very long for the waiter to bring the toothpick. It's because, ideally, you're supposed to use it in the washroom, so that this does not happen at the dining table. If you have to use it at the dining table, or there also maybe be a serviette or the palm of your hand. So you have 3 options. So that is why you'll not be allowed to be on the table. It cannot happen. While still on the toothpick, after using it, is not when you remember that it's a long time since you last went for a manicure. And at the dining table, you are busy cleaning your nails. Then, communication with the cutlery at your level is a must. There has to be that non-verbal communication with cutlery, so that when you are still eating, you position your cutlery in what is called the crossed swords position. This is the crossed swords position. You can take it round. The crossed swords position If you are at a banquet, at a state banquet, the waiters serving you can be able to discern from that possession that they should bring the platter to you that you are still eating. Then, that is the crossed swords position. Then, when you are done with dining, you communicate that you are not going to eat again by putting your cutlery in that position. Like on a wall clock, 5 o'clock, the waiter will not keep coming to you and asking, "Can I take your plate, sir?" Yes. With that communication, the waiter comes and removes your cutlery. Waiter comes and removes your cutlery. They can be able to tell. Then pushing back the chair. Anywhere you sit, even here, it is good etiquette to push back the chair after you are done. It shows a lot of respect. Enthusiastic conversation across the table is not allowed so that people across you see what is happening in your mouth, and you're supposed to eat and drink noiselessly. So, can never happen. Then, you never engage in what is called conducting an orchestra with your cutlery. There are people who hold the knife and they're explaining a point to you and they are doing this. It should also never be done. I'll leave this one. So, allow me just 2 minutes. As diplomats, have you given me permission? I know you're hungry. But allow me to 2 minutes talk about dressing and color coordination. 2 minutes on.